Hi, my name is Mercedes McClain, and this is my interview on thoughts on government. First question: What is your full name?
Latoya Nicole BB.
How old are you?
35.
What is your date of birth?
9/22/83.
What do you do for a living?
I am a makeup artist and I work for Bobby Brown Cosmetics.
What is your nationality?
Black, African American.
Do you know what the government is?
Yes.
You want me to explain? Yes.
The government is an organization set to maintain order and law.
What do you think the government's job is?
The government's job is to work for the people to maintain some type of order and law and consistency.
Do you think freedom relies on virtue for survival?
No.
Why not?
I think freedom is intended for everybody. I don't think it really relies on virtue. I think everybody is pretty much equally, born equally, and everybody deserves all freedom.
How does government influence public opinion and values?
Government inflects public opinion and in a lot of different reasons, but particularly because you are not able to do things if the government doesn't allow it. You're not able to have certain jobs. You're not able to maintain a certain lifestyle if the government is not approving of it. You're not able to live.
Do you think the government's actions shape how citizens think and speak?
In some degree. It shapes it with freedom of speech. Some people really believe that they have freedom of speech. Some people really think that they don't have freedom of speech. It does pertain to particular parties in the government on which side you choose to be on.
How much should we trust the government?
50%.
Why do you think only 50%?
Why I should trust the government? Because I'm a citizen that lives in this country now with the president that I have now, and his actions just don't seem to be what I think a president should be doing or acting. So at this point, I trust the government 50%.
So what you're saying is you do not believe in any of President Donald Trump's acts or reasons for the way he's acting?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Next question. Does morality have anything to do with the government?
No.
Why not?
Because when you go to court or you deal with the law, it's not ever a moral thing. It's always the law. The law is not always morally right. So with that being said, if you get in a situation where you have to get a lawyer, that's why you get a lawyer, because they do things for the law. They know the legal terminology, they know the law, and they know how to do things. I might think that morally something is wrong, but that has nothing to do with the law. They don't always coincide with each other.
Do you think whenever the government debates, do they take in moral consideration into account when deciding whether or not certain actions are lawful?
No. Like I said previously, because morally right and legally right are completely two different things.
Does having a bigger government pose more problems?
I don't think so, no.
So, put in other words, say if, you know how the government is split in between the 51 Republicans and like the 49 Democrats?
Right.
Say if there were more Republicans, like as Donald Trump, you wouldn't think that posed more of a problem?
If there can be more Republicans, then there can be more Democrats.
Didn't think of that. Governments When government oversteps its bounds, it begins to assume more authority. Do you think that weakens other important institutions, like, different,
Church. Yes, it does.
in how many
How?
ways?
For instance, church is a place of, like worship. It's the place you go to for prayer, for survival. If the government starts putting its entities into church, which means then they start making these laws about church, then you take away the freedom of your religion. And that's one thing that we're totally guaranteed is the freedom of religion.
Do you think the government's task is to speak fluently on the rights and duties of citizens and protect them from threats?
Yes. I think that because I am a military kid, grew up military my whole life. My parents were both in the military. So that's all I know is about protecting citizens and being raised that's what we do. We defend our country, we defend the people in our country, and that's just what we're supposed to do. So I do believe that the government is, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to protect us, they're supposed to defend us, and in some instances they're supposed to provide for us.
Again, do you think it is important to vote for every election with Supreme Court?
Yes. Why? Supreme Court is a very particular entity of the government, right? Most people who get into Supreme Court usually die before they leave, right? So we're talking years and years and years of having a particular person on the Supreme Court. I think that we should definitely look into it. I think we need to be more outspoken and more cautious about the government. We need to show that we care about what's going on. Lately, we have not been doing that. I have not been doing that. And we haven't been informing ourselves to be knowledgeable about the government. And we need to start necessarily really putting forth the effort to do so, myself included. So yes, we definitely do. We definitely need to vote.
Next question. Are you aware of the accusations against Kavanaugh?
Yes, I am aware of the accusations against Kavanaugh.
Do you think, since he was accused of such bad accusations, that all his elections into the Supreme Court should be stopped until everything is proved?
I do not think that all of his elections into the Supreme Court should have been stopped. What I do think with the situation with Kavanaugh is that they should have did an FBI investigation. They were supposed to pull all of the facts and then determine if this situation needed to be further looked into. I do not believe that they have totally proven that Kavanaugh had did anything. Not that he didn't do that. I don't think that they proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he did anything. And I think because there's so much speculation that we should have, or they should have, definitely did an FBI investigation and pulled all of the facts. Now, here's the thing: FBI investigations, they don't determine whether somebody did or did not do anything. What they do is totally investigate, give you a full report, and that report gives you the conclusion on if they did anything. You make your conclusion off of that report. I think that that's what they should have done. I can't say he did or didn't do anything. I did watch the court proceedings.
Okay, this is my last and final question. What is your overall look on the government?
My overall outlook on the government today is that it is in shambles. However, I do think that we can come back and be united again as before. I have not been fully active in doing my part as a citizen pertaining to the government as I should be. But with the latest situations and the latest president that we have, I am going to definitely inform myself more about politics and politicians. I think the government can be here to help us. The problem is that we are not knowledgeable enough. It's the last thing on our list that we ever think about getting some knowledge about the government.
That concludes my video. Thank you for doing this interview with me.
You're welcome.
And that is all. Goodbye.